There comes a moment in the journey when it all falls into place. Not because we planned it, but because love had an ulterior motive all along we were being prepared to see. This is that moment for me. I'm Giselle Gamby, coach, mentor, and podcaster, and this is the Intuitive Pull Podcast Season 6. This season is for the ambassadors, the evolutionary leaders, the ones who dare to go first, the ones whose mission it is to lead from the consciousness of love and break the sound barrier of what is possible. This is for those who know they are part of something greater, and for those who never thought they were. My intention is that Season 6 will change your life, that it will activate your mission and liberate you to lead from the abundance of your wisdom and be in your full-bodied self-expression no matter what, because love is the ultimate mastermind. Hello, Intuitive Pull community. It has been a long time since I have been here on this podcast. In fact, it's been really since the end of 2024, right at the beginning of 2025, that I recorded any episodes. And the reason is that I have been in a relentless and truly wonderful immersion that has led me to a place of clarity beyond I feel I've ever had this type of clarity before. So I have been very much, whilst I've been in service to my clients and to my family and to my community, I've very, very much been focused inwards. And now I'm ready to come out. So welcome to Season 6 of the Intuitive Pull podcast. It has certainly been a period of time of tuning in and hearing and listening and receiving my knowing and my intuition. And I am now in a place that I never expected to be, which is perfect in light of one of the premises that we've spoken about on this podcast before, that God has bigger plans than the ones that we've made for ourselves. And also, I remember being in a breathwork session in the Currumbin Valley, and I traveled into the quantum field, and the quantum field said to me, cast your desires onto me and I will show you dreams you never knew you had. And really, where I have landed is a dream I never knew I had. This season is completely dedicated and devoted to you coming into really fierce clarity, as I have come into, around what your mission is and what movement you may be here to lead. So I want to start on the mountaintop on this first episode. I don't want to give you all the guts and all the content. I want to paint the overall picture of where I have landed, and then I simply want to stage out 3 different periods of my life that have led me to landing here, more certain about the mission I'm here to lead and more certain about the movement that I never knew I was here to lead, which is kind of ironic. But in terms of the content and the guts, that won't be for this particular episode. So I am going to play you a piece of writing that I received that brought it all together. And when I received this piece of writing, I was really moved to record it and to create a video visual alongside it. So I'm going to play you that now. You can watch that video if you're seeing this on YouTube or Apple Podcasts. You won't be able to see it on Spotify, or you can simply listen to it. The visuals are there for those who enjoy that. the visuals are not necessary. The main thing is for you to receive the potency and just how special this place is that I've landed. But before I do that, what I want to do is share a piece that was instrumental in me receiving that. And it was a piece of writing I did on the 3rd of April. So we're not talking about a long time ago now. It's only the 6th of May now. The 3rd of April, my note to self 447, I received the answer to what I had been unable to define for myself in all the years that I have been coaching. So let me just pull that note to self up now. Here we are. And let me just read this to you, because this was the instrumental piece that really led me to receiving the mission in its fullness. So this is the note to self that I wrote, very much channeled on the 3rd of April 2025. It says, "For years I searched for the right words. I tried to define what I do. I'm a coach, a mother, a wife, a friend, a leader, a human. But what do I do?" And then my heart answered, not with strategy, not with branding, not with logic, but with the truth that was always there. I minister love. That's it. And that's everything. I walk people from fear to love, through hurt, through trauma, through conflict, through illness, through scarcity, through shame, through the moments when everything feels stuck, hopeless, or uncertain. Because when love is present, everything changes, not always in the way we expect, not always in the way we choose, but always in the way that brings us home. Love is the medicine. Love is the path. Love is the transformation. And when you surrender to love, when you allow yourself to be ministered by love, your health, your relationships, your leadership, and your wealth shift in ways you never imagined. This is my work. This is my devotion. When I received that, it was like receiving the Holy Grail. It didn't come from a branding exercise. It didn't come because I played with marketing. It came as a channeled piece, and it came from my heart. And because of that, it had a life of its own. It compounded into even more clarity. And now this is the piece that I will share with you, and then I'll come back on. Bring me the impenetrable, the immovable, the unshakable. Bring me what you've been unable to break through. The trauma, the failure, the shame, the glass ceilings. Bring me the confusion and resistance, the fears and anxieties, and let us transform this together once and for all. Bring me your pain and your sorrows, the worries you've kept secret, the unthinkable and even the unforgivable. Bring me what you've kept hidden and small, what you've ignored, denied, pushed down, hoping that one day things will change, one day in the future. But the future's not now, because now is when the future is born. To say you don't know how, but to say yes regardless. To getting on your knees, to stop resisting and trying to do it on your own. To say yes to asking for help from a place of self-trust. And because the bottom line is that you love yourself, bring me the impenetrable, the immovable, the unshakable. Bring me what you've been unable to break through, and let us transform this together once and for all. This is a time of liberation, and the time for hiding and hibernating is over. Bring completion to what's unresolved. Self-sabotaging patterns completed. Making yourself less to avoid pain completed. Who you were and what you led in the past is not who you are now. But have you caught up with the you who is here today? Because this is a time of liberation, a time to lead from your superpowers, to experience profound success from the abundance of your wisdom, to stand tall in your mission in full-bodied self-expression, faith, love, and power, amplifying your influence, amplifying your impact, because there's been an ulterior motive playing all along, to show you dreams you never knew you had, because love has bigger plans than the ones you ever made for yourself. This message is for the ambassadors, the evolutionary leaders, the ones who dare to go first. It's your time again to rise above the voice of tolerance that says, this is just the way it is. To rise above the voice of resignation that says, no, I just can't. To rise above the voice of incapacity that says, I don't have what it takes. And to rise above the voice of unworthiness that says, who do I think I am? Maybe you've travelled the road of purpose and power and you've shortchanged yourself. Or maybe you haven't met the ambassador within due to the roles and responsibilities you play. Or maybe you're hiding, unsure, tempering your dreams with, am I out of my mind? Yes, the ambassadors, the evolutionary leaders, the ones who dare to go first are out of their mind. They're out of a mind that holds the inner architecture of fear-based consciousness, and instead allow the consciousness of love to lead the way. This field of intelligence that organizes, harmonizes, and holds all of life unconditionally, to have us remember that in our essence we are not flawed, that we do not need to be fixed, and that who we are inherently is whole, perfect, complete, lovable, valuable, powerful, infinite, and eternal. The intelligence of love is the source code behind creation, evolution, and all authentic transformation. The ambassadors, the evolutionary leaders, the ones who dare to go first, are here to break the sound barrier of what is possible, to disrupt fear-based beliefs and assumptions about what is possible and real in the world, to say, no, I won't accept that, when others say, based on statistics and past experience, this is what you can expect, to complete karma and generational cycles and patterns, and bring freedom not only to themselves, but to those past, present, and future. They hold the impenetrable, the unbreakable, the unshakable, and even the unforgivable. Because in this field of love, leadership becomes devotion. Healing becomes remembrance. Purpose becomes inevitable. And power is reclaimed not through dominance, but by returning home to the transformative power of love. Love is the medicine. Love is the path. Love is the transformation that breaks the sound barrier of what is possible. And if you think you are not an ambassador, an evolutionary leader, the one who goes first, I dare to challenge you. Because the ones who change the world are rarely the ones who claim the title up front. They are the ones who quietly hold the light when others forget. who ask different questions, who feel the ache of something more even if they can't name it. You don't have to be ready. You don't have to know how or even what or why. You just have to be willing. Because the truest leaders are the ones who never thought they were. And maybe this is the moment when everything finally falls into place. So I hope that that piece around the mission and the movement that I am here to lead has spoken to your heart. I hope that it has been a calling into a curiosity, into an inquiry, into a pull, into a knowing around the mission that you are here to lead. Now, the thing is that I have always led that. It's not like as if when I received that piece, which was not long after the 3rd of April, it's not like as if all of a sudden my leadership changed and what I was in service to changed dramatically. I have always been in service to that. But I have never leading from the consciousness of love right up from the front. It has always been the nexus. It has always sat at the core. I have always talked about the divine perfection of things, the divine orchestration of things. I've always talked about we being a divine composition. I've always talked about returning home to love. I have always talked about the transformation happens when we have that shift in perception from fear to love. I have always talked about that, but I have never led from the front that love is the leader, that the consciousness of love is the ultimate mastermind. I have never led from the front, calling in the ambassadors, the evolutionary leaders, the ones who dared to go first, to lead from the consciousness of love right from the front. And this, I have to say to you, in my body right now as I speak this out to you, is extremely exciting for me. Because when I think about gathering a group of people, let me just say this differently actually. When I speak to this, one person at a time, one on one, and when I'm gathering people in a group, and this is the mission, each in our own particular ways, each in our own particular expressions. But when this is the mission that we are here to break the sound barrier of what is possible, because love is the answer, and we are leading from that right from the front, I am extremely impassioned and excited about what can be created. So welcome to season 6. May season 6 be an incredible activation. All of this clarity has come to me. It has all landed in the last month. And or let me just say it this way, this stage that I'm now in began in November 2022. But it all became intensified and clear only in the last month. Now, so this is what I want to stage this out for you. I'm going to start with the latest stage. So at the end of March this year, I had a real calling, a real intuitive pull that I wanted to go deeper into my surrendering. I wanted to let go even more. I wanted to not know. I wanted to not plan. I wanted not for my head to be in the driver's seat, my rational mind to be in the driver's seat. I had this huge pull to go deeper into my surrendering. Now, of course, I had a pull to go deeper into my surrendering because I received that note to self on the 3rd of April that I minister love. That is what I do. So I decided to put on my 3rd 9-week meditation activation program. And this time I would dedicate it to the theme of surrendering. I was doing it for me because I wanted to go deeper into my surrendering. And then I decided, well, why don't I create a program and invite other people into it? And so therefore, the 3rd 9-week meditation activation program began on the 7th of April this year. That clarity around the mission and the movement has happened because I devoted a practice to surrendering since the 7th of April this year. The word compounding is the word that is here. Every week I have received a piece that has been so important, a piece that has mattered so much. Every week, piece after piece after piece after piece. It has been compounding. The clarity has been compounding. And it's because I dedicated myself to surrendering that it all then fell into place. And really, that is a theme to speak to here and to invite you into a period of time in your life that is available, that is here for me right now when it all falls into place. Now, of course, there's more to fall into place. I have some humility here that I don't know how it's all going to pan out. And from a practical point of view, so much has fallen into place in relation to what I'm here to be of service to, and in relation to who I am here to be of service to, and in relation to when we come together, whether it's one-on-one, one person at a time, or whether it's coming together as a group. I have clarity around and knowing that more will fall into place. Dreams that we never knew we had. When we make the consciousness of love the ultimate mastermind. So there are people on the 9-week meditation activation program currently in the program. Now, if you are not in the program and this is calling you into the program, you can easily come into the program now. We're at week 5. You can catch up on the previous weeks. You can use them in your own time as well. I will put a link in the show notes for you to be able to purchase the program and come into it. Now, if you happen to be watching this episode after the 9 weeks have finished, because we do come together in group every fortnight, you will still be able to come into the program. You just won't have the group support. So if that's the case, I'm going to put my email in the show notes. You just need to send me an email and you'll be able to purchase the program. There won't be any group component to it, however. So that's stage 1, the most recent stage that had everything fall into place. Stage 2, I'm going to go back in time. Stage 2 began in November 2024, last year. I went to Bali in December. And before I went to Bali, I was invited to decide to have a fundamental shift in identity around a habit that had become more powerful than me. That set up what, in hindsight, I can see has been an immersion. Immersion is not a word that I've used in the past, and immersion is exactly what I have been in. I then went to Bali, and I'm actually not going to talk about the content here. All that I'm going to say for the purposes of this episode is that things happen in Bali which had me unequivocally see that I was now in an immersion. And that immersion continued. It continued through to December. It continued through to January. It continued through to March and April, and now I'm in May. Now, I have to say that in this immersion, I have experienced duality. I have experienced knowing and intuition that is so profound. I have experienced a level of trust and faith and conviction that is deeper than I have ever experienced. And the point that I want to make here is that I haven't had to suffer through it. I haven't had to suffer through it. And I know that for some of us, there is a new era. And the era is that pain does not need to be the catalyst to our growth. And I'm making a stand for that. It doesn't mean that we don't have anxiety, we don't worry, we don't have some concern, but we don't suffer. We do not suffer. There is a time in our lives when pain and suffering is the catalyst, and it's a powerful catalyst, and it's the necessary catalyst for us to come home. And I am making a stand with absolute conviction that that does not need to be the catalyst for all of us. It's particularly for those of us who have been on the journey for a while. So that was stage 2. That led me to the clarity that I have now. Now, stage 3, as I said, began. I didn't know it began then, but I can see it now in hindsight that something happened in November 22 that was painful, and really was the beginning of this new growth period that I can say I feel like I have come to the end of, and now what I'm being invited is to completely embody it. The final thing that I want to say on this first episode, or maybe it's not the final thing, maybe there's a few more things I want to say, is I had a session with a really dear person a few weeks back, and we are coming to the end of her year. And she said to me, "You are not the person that I met a year ago." And I was like, "Wow, I'm curious. What do you see?" And she said a few things. And I said, "Oh, you have done something to me. I really feel like going into a piece of writing now to really presence what you have seen for me to be able to receive it more deeply." So I did. And the reason why I want to share this with you, I want to share who I have become in the process, because that's the point. That's actually what matters. It's not about the stories. It's about the story within the story and why that matters, which is actually what I spoke to in week 5 of the 9-week meditation activation program. It's not about the story. We all know that. It's about the story within the story. It's not about what happened. It's about why it mattered. And why all of it has mattered since November 2022 is that it has stretched my capacity. I have become someone more embodied, and I want to share who I have become, because that's the main point, isn't it? Isn't that the main point? As we remember who we are. And then, of course, our physical 3D life changes as a result of that. But it doesn't change unless we become someone who we have not allowed ourselves to be. It doesn't change. The 3D physical reality does not change unless we continue to return home to love and all of the expressions of that. So I'm going to read to you my note to self, 561. Let me just pull that up now. That really doesn't speak to the content, as I said, not to the what happened, but to the why it matters and who I became as a result. Almost there. Just give me 1 second. Here we are. Note to self 561, the 23rd of April, 2025. Who have I become? Leah said to me that I'm a different person to who I was a year ago, especially since Bali. I was curious, so I asked her what she saw. She said my conviction about what I do is much more defined. My ability to hold has become stronger, and I allow for the answers to be seen by her rather than me, thus creating the space for more empowerment. This activated me. I felt the energy in my belly and heart, and now in my throat. Who have I become? I have become the one who now sees what I once could not. That's going to make me emotional. That my entire life has been a devotion, preparing me to finally receive the mission I am here to lead, with both conviction and humility. I'm here to work with the ambassadors, the evolutionary leaders, the ones who dared to go first, to lead from the consciousness of love and break the sound barrier of what is possible. I'm here to work with the ones who know they are part of something greater and the ones who never thought they were. And I now see clearly that I am not only here to lead a mission, but I'm also here to carry forth a movement. I see an army of angels, a vision that has returned to me more than once, each flying a flag that says, love is the answer. Love. Love is the medicine, the path, and the transformation. And I now see that love itself has a mission to unify where separation and disconnection have taken hold, to harmonize where fear has overshadowed faith, and to liberate where illusion born of fear and false expectation has been mistaken for God. The mission has always been here, even 20 years ago when I led a program called Dare to Lead, but it wasn't as clear, as activating, and as calling forward as it is now. When the mission is big enough, we move, and I am ready to move. I am standing for a new conversation in the world of growth and transformation, one where pain and tension are no longer the only catalysts, and where the abundance of our wisdom and our full-bodied, liberated self-expression are equally mighty initiators of change. I now have a strength in me that once wavered. I feel the omnipresence of love behind my spine, and I sit taller, unafraid, present, no matter what I'm being told. And I feel deeper reverence and upliftment when I witness the returns home to love, even in the most challenging of human situations and circumstances. My faith has taken even deeper roots. In the human story of unpredictability and uncertainty, I've leaned into faith with greater ferocity, and I've been uncompromising in my devotion to see through the eyes of love, not fear. I've realised that the field of potentiality, whilst foreign to many who find safety in predictability in the known, is where I've belonged all along. It is here, in the infinite unknown, that the impenetrable transforms, the immovable softens, and the impossible becomes inevitable. Not always in the way we would have preferred, but in the ways that love knows will liberate us. I have become more humble in all of this because who am I to say I know? Love moves in mystery, beyond logic and preference. And sometimes the great reveal doesn't come on demand, but in love's timing, when I and we have grown our capacity to see the sacred in the moments we resisted. And I'm now prepared to lead the message that love is the medicine and the path that transforms everything right from the front. What led to this becoming? All of my life, and through the most recent growth period that began 2.5 years ago. I saw blind spots that created thresholds on how powerful and loving I could be. I met my core wound for the first time, and through it, I found my way home to my sovereignty once again. I raised the stakes and brought integrity to what had been misaligned. I completed what had been left unresolved, not just recently, but decades in the making. I grew new expressions of my leadership by seeing dreams I never knew I had that were waiting for me on the other side of surrender. I heard the call of a new season, the season of harvest, a time of abundance for all. I heard that pain no longer needs to be the catalyst. I felt the conversation shifting from the pursuit of inner freedom to the embodiment of liberation, a liberation that does not just exist inside of us, but radiates outward into the world. Then came a deeper revelation. I saw the moment where I had made myself smaller to avoid pain. And in clearing out this debris, I saw what was really going on, that love had an ulterior motive. I was in training to lead from the abundance of my wisdom, no matter what. Moving out of the shadow and more into the light, I surrendered into leading from the abundance of my superpowers. Superpowers I didn't know I had, that I was afraid of and that had been hidden. The clarity I hold today came from walking this path, by living it in all my vulnerability and power, and by becoming it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. So this is how I want to end this episode. If this mission, this movement, this episode, this season of the podcast has spoken to your heart, has spoken to a knowing within you, or has activated a knowing or an intuition within you that is calling you into greater clarity around the mission that you are here to lead and potentially the movement that you are here to call forward. As my darling friend Susie de Jong says, it's time to go hard or go home. This is my birthday month. I turn 56 on the 9th of May, in a few days' time. I know my 55th year was preparing me. I knew it, that number 55, it kept seeing it everywhere. I knew I was in sacred preparation. I knew, and I have been in sacred preparation, as I've said, since November 2022, and very much in my 55th year. So if it's time for you to go hard and go home, I am welcoming you into a masterclass. I have loved delivering masterclasses this year. I am going to be delivering a masterclass to everything that we've spoken about today. Now, I really want to preface this masterclass with this. This really is for the people who are here to go hard and go home. This really is for the people who have the devotion to leading from love, as I and my whole life has been a devotion to. This is for the people who absolutely want to have no regrets when they leave this life. This is for the people who are prepared to go all in, who are prepared to go all into a time of sacred preparation, and that compounding clarity that has you arrive to the place that I have arrived in the last month, where everything has fallen into place. So I'm delivering a masterclass on 2 dates. On Thursday, the 29th of May at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So a 2-hour masterclass on the Thursday, the 29th of May, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., beg your pardon, Sydney time, AEST. And then for those who work during the week and are unable to attend that time, I'll be delivering the same masterclass on Saturday, the 31st of May, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Sydney time, AEST. These are free masterclasses. Now, in these masterclasses, I'm going to be calling you forward. So if you do not want to be called forward and you want to stay in the background and stay in resistance and not fully surrender, I will just say that this isn't the masterclass for you. There will be other masterclasses for you. There have been masterclasses for you. This one really is for those who are prepared to like fully lean in, because really it has to be mirrored. It has to be mirrored with the path that I have walked. Otherwise, I'm devaluing the path that I've walked. I'm devaluing the conversation. I'm devaluing the opportunity for clarity that is here. There will be a link in the show notes to register for those free masterclasses. Now, if you know that you don't even need those masterclasses, you just want to dive into a conversation with me, you know what to do. Just email me, message me, and we will have a conversation. I'm very clear now as to the coaching and mentoring offers that I have. I feel they are so abundant, beautiful, honoring of the fact that you know what is right for you. And so I have a 3-month immersion, one-on-one. I have the mastermind that can be up-leveled into after that 3-month immersion. I have the most beautiful group program called My Best Year Yet, which began in November 2024, the most sacred community for people who don't need one-on-one and are so joyful in communing with others and allowing the process of writing notes to self, which has created all of everything I've spoken to, and who want that year of accountability and presence to writing notes to self and sharing that in communion with other people. There is My Best Year Yet. Reach out, we'll chat. Sending you lots of love and a little precursor into the next 2 episodes. I have had the deepest privilege, the deepest honor to be working with a beautiful woman called Janine Guerin, who I was referred to by Dr. Carol Haddad. And I've been holding Janine since January as she faces her mortality, as she decides how she chooses to show up in a cancer that will come to an end. And the reason that these interviews are so perfect in light of everything that we've spoken about, and I want you to really feel this one in your heart as I say this out loud, is that Janine decided to come on the podcast because she had an intuitive pull right from the beginning of when we first spoke in January, that she wanted to podcast her journey out in the context of voluntary assisted dying. She wanted to podcast her journey out so that others would be more aware in situations like she's in herself. Others would be more aware that that is actually an option. because it's an option that doctors are not allowed to talk about unless the patient asks questions. So the purpose of those 2 interviews, and there may be more, but we're at 2 interviews so far, is multi-layered. Number 1, for the reasons that I just spoke about, because Janine wants to generously share her process so that other people know that it's available. And she didn't find appropriate podcasts where it was never actually told through the first person. It was told through family. And Janine wanted to podcast her journey out from the first person. And secondly, because Janine is demonstrating to us the most profound, tender example that we can lead a mission, that we always have the choice and the opportunity to lead a mission regardless of the circumstances. That we always have an opportunity to lead from the consciousness of love, to be a demonstration of leading from the consciousness of love, even in the event that Janine is in where she is facing her mortality. And if there's an example of going hard or going home, when in the situation that Janine is in, she could easily just be thinking about herself. This is the ultimate example. And honestly, having Janine in my life impacts me in a way that makes me remind myself about what matters the most and about making the most of the time that I have here, because I have, at least as far as I know, and we'll never know, but at least as far as I know right now, I have the gift of time, which Janine does not have. And so I'm letting you know about those 2 episodes. You may wish to not watch or listen to those 2 episodes, and that is totally okay. And you also may choose to watch or listen to those episodes because there may be people in your life that are affected with terminal illness, and you may feel to share these episodes with them, or simply because, not simply, that's such the wrong word, or profoundly because Janine demonstrates to us that she's on a mission and that can ripple into your world and have you and me realize that we have no excuse. Absolutely no excuse. Thank you for being with me. What I now realize is quite a mammoth first episode of season 6. Sending you lots of love. Ciao, ciao for now. Bye.